Hello again, everybody. As you guys already know, we have a new ticket over here that we can buy where we can pick any character of our choice. This time, however, they're only permanent characters. They're not limited. None of these characters are actually limited. And they are also giving us a 10 pull ticket if we buy this, and 200 fragments of the character that you pick, of course. But since this is only permanent characters, not limited, it does make it a little bit less important than the other one, since you can just get these characters if you get a little bit lucky. But in case you still want to buy this, I'm here to tell you who's actually important and who you should maybe prioritize and who you shouldn't really care about. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Right off the bat, over here, Anna. Most of these characters that I'm going to recommend are actually 6-star, so if you see that a character can actually reach a 6-star, I'm talking about them in a case that they are actually 6-starred, not before they are 6-starred, but because most of them before 6-star are kind of useless. So of course, Anna, 6-star, really good for PvP in case you are, I don't know if you care about that. I personally don't really care about PvP too much, but if you really like PvP and want to go to the top ranks, Anna is a really good character. She nukes. She deals a ridiculous amount of damage with her nuke. And yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. Just be careful because she can die very easily after she bursts because she reduces defense by 90% or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You just give her a lot of TP, she nukes at the beginning, and hopefully she kills someone and she nukes again to kill whoever is left in the field. Okay, next up, Io, also 6-star. She is actually ridiculously good for PvP also, not for PvE or bosses or whatever, but only in defense teams because of her burst. She, in case you guys don't remember, her burst does like confuse everybody and everybody starts attacking each other, aka the opponent's team. And because of that, it's a really annoying stun per se. It's worse than stun because stun they don't do anything, but this they just kill themselves. So as a defense team, Io or Io, really good character. Next up, Inori, also really good for PvP. Just because of this first skill over here, she stuns a lot of the characters that are in front of her. It's an AoE stun in front of her, pretty much. And of course she is in front of the team, so you do have to be a little bit careful. She does have a good amount of defense, but she can still die, of course, she's not a tank. But as I was saying, she stuns and gives time to your team to do whatever you want your team to do. That's pretty much it, really. You just use her for her stun. None of these attacks actually matter. Only the stun matters because it stuns a lot of people. If you have like her and some other character like Magical Kasumi, for example, who stuns everybody in the back line of the team, it makes it really hard for the opponent's team to actually do anything against you because everybody is stunned, you know? So Inori, really nice to have. Next, who do we have? Who's next? Ah, of course, Jita. Of course, and also 6-star. Incredible DPS and support. She's really, honestly, a sub DPS instead of an actual dedicated DPS. Because besides doing a lot of damage, of course, she does, not heal, she does give a lot of TP to everyone. Gives even more to herself, actually. So she keeps spamming her burst while also giving a lot of TP to everyone, which makes everyone else spam their bursts a little bit faster. Really good, a lot of damage also. Really good character to have in general. Next is Chevy, also 6-star. Also another sub DPS. In this case, she reduces a lot of defense while also doing a lot of damage. And that's pretty much it. Solid, really simple, really good. You don't really need her too much, but she is a really good character. Of course, I've got to say, Jita is probably one of the most important ones to pick from this list. I'll talk about some other characters that are also really important to have, but Jita is definitely one of them, one of the highest priority around here. June, 6-star, really good also. She basically boosts a lot of attack in an area around herself, so characters that are near her get a lot of attack, and an action speed buff also. And of course she's a tank, so that's really nice as well. You do have to be careful though, because speed buffs don't actually stack in I mean, except for some cases, but that's... In general, they don't stack. That's what I mean. So in case you have like Labrista, for example, who gives a ridiculous attack speed or action speed buff, you don't really want to use Jun because it would like overlap and would make things a little bit tricky, but you can of course still use her. Sometimes even if you are stacking attack speed buffs, it might end up being better anyway instead of using some other characters. So she's still of course a really good tank. Another really good tank, Christmas Jun. Look at that, 2 Juns in the same team. Not really in the same team, but you know, 2 Juns. She's kind of like 6-star Jun, with the exception that one of her skills actually makes an area in front of the furthest ally, so the ally that stays in the back. And this field like buffs characters inside it. So if you're using someone like Amos, for example, who stays really far back, especially in physical teams, she'll actually be really far away from the other characters, so the field might not actually be hitting anyone, so it makes it a little bit tricky to use. And of course also the attack speed buff, she also has one. Be a little bit careful with that, but it might not be too bad to stack it anyway. You might still actually do a lot of good damage. But in general, just use her in teams where everyone is a little bit clumped together, or at least the important ones are close to the furthest character, or the character in the back. Okay, next up we have... Who do we have next? No. Oh, Summer Chica. She looks beautiful, look at that. This one for PvP and defensive teams. Didn't know she had this much defense, that's kind of funny. In any case, she's really good for defensive teams. She gives a lot of defense and a lot of healing. That's pretty much it. She gives also a barrier to everyone. Makes it really hard to kill, to be honest. So use her in a defensive team if you want. I mean, not if you want, if you have to. Next up, Tomo, 6-star. Ridiculously good sub DPS. Has a small AoE where she can deal damage, so she is good for multi-target bosses. She gives a lot of attack to people around her, and she also gives attack speed to people around her, which is really nice. She is a really good sub DPS. Kind of like Jita. I like Jita. A little bit. But in a different way. Next, we have... Oh, of course, Makoto. In case you guys don't remember, Makoto will have a 6-star buff very recently. So I do actually recommend waiting to buy this ticket until Makoto actually releases, just to see what she actually does. Because she might actually be really good. Honestly, she might just replace Chevy, for example. I talked about a little bit before, or a little bit earlier. She might just replace Chevy. She might just replace... Honestly, she might replace Jita, who knows? Not really, no, Jita gives TP, she wouldn't give TP. But you know, she could be a really good character, so wait. My advice is to wait until Makoto is released and see what she does, because she might be a really good pick. Moving on. Ooh, of course, Monika, 6-star. One of the highest priority characters in this list, also. Besides being really tanky for some reason, she has a lot of defense. She also gives a lot of utility, like a lot of attack to everybody on the team, and also a lot of attack speed to everybody on the team, and also being a good tank. Usually in magic teams you'd use her, because in physical teams we have better tanks, really. But you can still use it in physical teams, of course. It depends on the situation. It's always like that in this game. Each boss or arena or, I don't know, stage is very dependent or is very different from each other, so. But she still sees a lot of use these days. She's a very versatile unit, really good unit, very strong unit, a really useful unit. So definitely consider picking her up if you don't have her. Next, we have Ruka. Ruka is a really interesting one here, because she is actually pretty good. As you can see, she has a lot of defense, so she is actually a really good tank. And she actually gives a lot of defense shred to the enemy. She has seen quite a bit of use, even these days, in clan battle. I think the last clan battle actually used her in one of the bosses to do a lot of damage, not her in particular, just, you know, teammates. And if you even give her, like, attack speed buffs, she keeps reducing defense even more and more frequently, which is really nice to have. Pairs really well with Labrista in since she doesn't have any attack speed buffs, she doesn't like overlap anything. Really good character to have. Not very high in demand, not really like very important, but honestly kinda worth mentioning. Now, did I miss anyone? Let me check. Oh, Maho. Maho 6-star is actually also a really good character. Also not really that important. At this point, it's just honorable mentions, really. But Maho is also really nice to have. She gives a lot of TP. She has a single target heal. She's actually kind of nice for PvP because she has a blind. She also gives attack buffs to magic damage. Really good utility overall, if I'm being honest. Is anyone else that I'm missing? Is there anyone else that I'm missing? Oh, it's probably the last one. Or not really, actually. Just remembered another one. But Kasumi, magical, for PvP, really important character. Another high priority character in this list. If you really care about PvP, pick Kasumi. She's ridiculously busted. She has a lot of debuffs and really annoying ones like stun, TP reduction, which is really annoying to deal with. And I think she has a blind. I think she has a blind, but I'm not sure. Yeah, she's really dumb. She is incredibly dumb to deal with. Really good for offensive PvP and defensive PvP. Ridiculously strong. Let me check, because I remembered... Oh, there she is. Kuka, Noir. Probably the best tank we have right now for magic teams. She doesn't do anything too amazing, but she is the best though. She is the best right now. She reduces defense. She is really tanky, so you know, use her as a tank. And she also, I think, if I remember correctly, she does buff magic attacks to everyone in the team. And since she actually stays really in front, you know, magic teams usually stay really behind in the team, and Kuka is an actual tank, so she stays really in front. She stays actually really far away from anyone else. That can come in handy sometimes if the enemy targets like an area around the character closest to the enemy. So since Kuka is alone, the area is not going to deal damage to anyone else in the team, and Kuka is the only one that's actually being hit here, which is really nice, really good utility. And to be honest, another really high priority in this list. And that should be actually everybody on here. That's actually important. Just to recap, I'm gonna tell everybody who's really good, really quickly. So Anna, Io, Kasumi, magical for PvP. Really important one, high priority. Kuka, Noir, kinda high priority. Jita, high priority. Chevy, June Christmas. Tomo, 6-star, of course. Makoto might be high priority, as I said before. Just wait a little bit until she gets her buff. Monika, 6-star, high priority. And lastly, Ruka, also really nice. Yeah, that's it. I hope this was helpful for anyone out there, and I'll see you guys next time.